Welcome to the Business for Breakfast seminar series presented by Huddleston Bowling. Business for Breakfast seminars provide very practical information for business people on topics ranging from sales and marketing to customer service, employee relations, technology, and accounting. For information about upcoming seminars, go to www.huddlestonbowling.com/events, or to view videos from past seminars, visit e4b-huddlestonbowling.com. Today's seminar is Tips for Hiring the Right Employee for the Job. Our guest speaker is Betty McHale, owner and president of Workplace Solutions. Co-sponsors for the seminar are Huddleston Bowling and the Lawrence County Chamber of Commerce.
Today we're going to talk about hiring and selection. This is going to be a discussion on the hiring and selection practices. The first thing I would like to ask you is, what are the problems that you have or that you recognize within your own companies for hiring and selection? Well, it's been my experience that most of the time, unless you have a clearly written job description and a clear understanding of what the job actually is, so that you can look at it and form your questions, that's the problem right there that most employers have. They don't know how to ask the right questions. First of all, an outline on the hiring and selection process. And that's the basic outline that we follow when we're hiring people. We're going to recruit them. And the recruiting process is that it begins with an updated job description. Not only does it help you classify whether someone is exempt or non-exempt under the Fair Labor Standards Act, but it also covers you in so many legal ways. For example, like if someone is off on workers' comp, a really clearly written job description, facts to the doctor, helps him decide if that person is physically able to come back to work. Now, if you look at page 2 on this job description, you'll see a competency model. This is the greatest way to hire the right person. First of all, a competency model lists all the critical success factors a person should possess in order to perform this job successfully. If you look at this competency model now, how are you going to write your questions? First of all, your personal credibility, you're going to scan the resume or the job application. At this level, it would be a resume. If you'll look at the personal interview questions, I have taken this competency model and designed my questions around it. So these are the questions. First of all, sex, residence, race, color, age, national origin, marital or family status, arrest, convictions, religion, disabilities, and citizenship. You need to be very careful. Some things you absolutely cannot ask about. Some things you need, if you're trying to get at certain information, you need to ask it in a manner that doesn't allow discriminatory remarks. I've added some extra ones like past performance ethics. And the question I've asked is, have you ever been asked by a previous employer to do something that you didn't think was right? And what did you do about it? And thinking back on the situation, would you have handled it in the same way? You know? Ethics is very important in business, isn't it? If you're a public company, Sarbanes-Oxley is a very important law that you need to understand. There are different types of interviews for finding the right person for the right job. First of all, there are situational interviews where all the questions pertain to different types of situations and how would you handle it. A lot of people call them behavioral type interviews, which cannot be answered with yes or no. They're open-ended questions. You also want to find the right person, you want to encourage honesty by asking specific questions about past performance. For example, what was the result of your most recent performance review? They should be asking good questions about the company, about the things that you make, your customer base, all of that. They should know something about the company. And it really ticks me off in an interview if the person hasn't done their homework enough to go to the website and see what kind of company I am before they get to the interview. And generally that's a black mark right off the bat if they don't know anything about the company. Let me just say that the more people you have involved in an interviewing process is the better off you're going to be. It's the best chances to hire the right person for the right job. Because why?
Different perspectives.
Absolutely. You have people sitting there. You might be, for this level, executive level, you'd have the president of the company interviewing. You'd have probably the in-house counsel talking to this person, executive vice president of HR. Yeah, you're going to have in-house counsel or someone external to talk to them as well for the company, aren't you? To see if they know what they say they know, right? And you're going to ask some good questions about employment law, aren't you? ADA, FMLA, all of these to see if this person actually does understand the risk involved to the organization in these categories. Why would you have a telephone interview first?
See if you really want to interview.
What does the telephone interview tell you though? A lot of times people will think it's just a telephone conversation, that it's not a real interview. Well, guess what? You're being interviewed. And I've actually had managers who were applying for management positions answer the phone like, hello? And I'd introduce myself, oh, okay. And I would say, and your job is to say, are you still interested in this position? Because like I said, someone who might have applied for the job is no longer interested. And if they did apply for the job, well, can you tell me why, just briefly, why you applied for this position? And it kind of assesses their needs. A lot of people will say, well, it's a job that I think I could do well, and it's closer to my home. And with gas prices the way they are, that's a perfectly legitimate reason, right? Or it may give me more opportunities to utilize the skills that I have instead of my current job where I'm kind of pigeonholed into one area. That's a good reason, isn't it? So like you said, you're assessing. You're assessing the needs of the person as well as would they be a good fit based on their resume or their application and their telephone conversation. Do I really want to interview this person? Do their values match our organizational values? It's very important at this level that you share the same type values, which is one reason why you ask ethical questions. Background checks. Background checks should be done after the offer has been made. Why? Why should you have this authorization? Where is it? Authorization to release personnel file information signed after the job offer. That's me. Well, it's because of privacy, but also because a lot of times to run a background check, you have to ask for a social security number and a birth date. And you want to ask for those types of information only after the offer of employment has been made and accepted. Okay? And then it's contingent upon you successfully passing a background and a pre-employment drug test. Okay? And you're not allowed to ask for that kind of information before you make the job offer. How many of you have ever gone to an interview and the interviewer told you that the job was this, and then when you took the position, it was totally different? That's happened to me once in my career. You know how long I lasted? 6 weeks. And that's the only time in my life I ever left a position without having another position. It ticked me off so bad that they lied to me in the interview.
Other duties as assigned.
No, didn't have anything to do with that. Didn't have anything to do with that. They totally lied about the organization and about my opportunities there. And the minute that I got there, I realized it. And I left. And there's a psychological contract that is broken. I mean, when you go to an interview, you as a candidate think to yourself, well, this person's going to be fair with me, right? It's a concept of fair dealings, right? Good faith and fair dealings. that you have, that this employer is presenting everything to you in the best way possible about the job, right? And then the interviewer, from the organizational standpoint, also has a concept of fair dealing and good faith. That you're telling me everything about yourself that I'm asking you, and you're truthful, right? So when that's broken, you don't trust that company anymore. I mean, if they lie to you about the job and totally misrepresent it to you, that's a case for Huddleston Bowling, by the way, because that's illegal. False representation of a job is illegal, and you're not allowed to do that, which is another reason why you should have clearly written job descriptions.